Good Mom and Monday.
You're here at the Mistaken Mama podcast. I'm Kaylee.
And I'm Mandee.
And we are your hosts. This week on the podcast, we're going to be talking about family photos and how they've changed over the years. It is also freezing cold in here, so I am bundled up. And I'm a lot warmer.
It is pretty cold in here today.
Oh, yeah. So we are recording this on the same day that we recorded the Sharing Rooms episode. So I don't really have any other wins and fails and book updates and stuff. So I guess we'll just kind of skip over that and just go jump right into the family photos.
Yeah, and it might be a little bit shorter.
Might be a little bit
because we don't have
shorter
that to add.
Yes.
So,
yeah. So family photos.
family photos.
Do you guys do like every year, or like what's your guys' like routine schedule or whatever for that?
Well, we didn't really start doing family photos until Maverick came along.
Mm-hmm. Which I mean sounds pretty typical.
Yeah. I would say like our first professional photos. Your mom took some for us when we were younger.
Mm-hmm.
But then like as our adult selves was probably the wedding. And then we didn't do it again until I was pregnant with Maverick for maternity pictures.
And that was me.
So and that was with you.
We're using professional photos very loosely, using that terminology loosely.
They look professional. They're with a professional camera. They're
true.
Edited. They look great.
Thank you.
And then again when Maverick was 1. And then again when I was pregnant with Quincy.
Was this all me?
Yes.
Okay.
And then again when Quincy was 1, or right before she
again
was
me.
1, yeah. So you.
I am the professional.
And I guess that's been about almost every year.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Roughly. And then the only other family photos that I've ever done was like the Walmart, JCPenney.
Oh,
like.
Oh yeah, I think
very
we all did that as
posed,
kids.
like put your hand here and
put your hand
smile.
on the weird, very short white column thing.
Yeah.
The Roman column.
Get on this pretend carousel horse and
yep.
Yeah. That kind.
They've got
So
a blanket over a block.
yeah. Yeah. So that's about it for me.
Yeah, I'd say like, I mean, obviously too with the kid, when I was a kid, we did those. Definitely got a bunch of those in my mom's photo box that she's got, or bin, I guess. It's a huge bin full of photos.
Yeah.
As an adult, my mom took a lot of our photos, and then I've taken our own. Because again, like Mandy just said, I have a professional camera.
Right.
It's also the same camera that we are using
currently
to record this.
Yeah.
So smile.
It works good.
I use a Canon DSLR T7i. That's what I use.
Okay.
I have previously used I think I've always used Canon. My mom uses a Nikon. I don't remember what hers is, but I can't remember what I used prior to this one. But that's what I use now, and I use it for all of our family photos that we take, and for all of yours.
Yeah.
But we typically try to do our family photos every fall. One, I just like fall. I think it works really well with photos.
Right.
And I prefer like warmer, kind of more like the greens, the creams, and the browns. And that tends to look really good in the fall.
Yeah.
And by those colors, I mean like for us to wear them.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I like that in the fall. And
I
so that's
think
kind of
all
like
mine
every year
have been done in the fall too. That kind of had to do with the fact that I was pregnant in the fall.
Yes.
And then of course that means that their birthdays fell into well, I had them the very end of fall.
Yeah. People would consider that kind of like winter though, specifically Maverick. Maybe not as much Quincy, but Maverick definitely.
Yeah.
Since he's technically not even technically, he is December.
Yes.
But that is technically fall still.
I think it would be fun to do a spring one though. I'm not super into like the springy colors as much, but I feel like I've been dabbling a tiny bit into color. I think since having a little girl.
Yeah.
She wears a lot of the pastels and like the pinks and purples. And I'm going to throw this out here. Like Kaylee said, this is our second episode we're recording. My kids have already tried to be patient for one whole episode. So if you hear noises in the background, sorry, those are my kids. They're trying.
Yep. And that might add to this is going to be probably a shorter episode.
Yeah.
We'll have that factor.
Yes. Sorry. It's okay.
I'm tired, man.
I feel you. Anyway, since I put her in more colorful clothing than I put myself in. It's almost made me want to get more colorful clothing. Just because it looks so cute on her.
I think even the sweater that you're wearing would work with like spring. Because it's kind of like pinky
it's almost
brown.
Yeah, it's like I
can't tell what color it's going to show up as in the podcast. Because our viewfinder thing that we're using is not accurate at all for color.
No.
But in
like
real life, it
peachy
has
almost.
Yeah, very light pink undertone.
Yeah.
To like a beige.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
It's like a warm beige, very warm beige.
Very. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it would work.
I think so.
I also have like a spring dress that I've had for like a few years now.
Have you ever worn it?
Nope.
Feel you.
Yep. And when I bought it, I had to have it because I need it for, I don't even remember what I needed it for, but I didn't need it for that.
You had to.
Obviously.
Clearly, because you didn't
never
use it
wore
for
it.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
And for like family photos and stuff, I think that the hardest part is coordinating outfits. Mm-hmm. Trying not to like have two kids wearing like too similar of a color, because then if they sat next to each other, then throws it off and whatever else. And
you don't want everybody to be like super matchy. Yeah, you just want them to be like complementary.
Can't have one person that's wearing something that's like ridiculously bright and everybody's in muted tones.
Yeah.
I feel like the only way something like that works is if the photo shoot is geared around that specific person.
True.
So like maternity, for example, the mom could obviously wear literally anything, and then everybody else wears something that kind of complements it.
Right.
In a sense.
Yeah, that's true.
But other than that,
like if you were having a girl, then you could wear like if you wanted to wear like a bright pink dress, and then everyone else kind of wears like cream colors or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Same with like, we do something really similar with wedding photos. The bride's in the bright white, and then everybody else is in
complementary colors.
Exactly.
Right. That makes sense.
And then you can do the same for like birthday photo shoots and whatever else kind of thing too.
And I definitely like the more candid photos, like of you just truly just having a good time. Of course, you're aware camera's there, so maybe you're trying to position yourself a little bit better, but I definitely like the more organic looking photos.
Yeah, especially with like family photos and you got the little kids, like maybe dad's tickling one of the kids, or the kid just organically makes like a silly face, but it's like, I don't know, because like sometimes people are like, oh my god, just smile,
right?
But then it doesn't. I mean, like, yeah, having a couple of those is great because you obviously want like to put on your Christmas card, or whatever,
or put them in your house or whatever. Yeah,
but I do truly love the candid photos, even if they're like not even looking at the camera, just everybody just engaging with each other.
Yeah,
those are the best.
And it's easier, especially with little kids, because you can kind of just tell them like, just go play over here, and we'll take pictures, and then we gotta pause for one and smile, and then you can go keep playing, and it just makes it a lot easier. Then I can't even imagine what it would be like to take my kids to like a JCPenney and have like a very posed setup.
Yes, I will say most recently when we did the photos, Ellie wasn't in all of them.
Okay.
Right? And so the ones that she was not in, if it would be like just like me posing with like one kid or whatever, or the two older kids posing together, she'd be behind the camera going, cheese, so cute. But then as soon as we put her in front of the camera, she goes, no.
So she wanted to be the photographer.
Yes.
Got it.
And then she'd just turn away. No.
That is funny.
And so I have a lot of photos of her with this like grump face turning away from the camera and just Don't want to.
A little stinker.
Yes.
Maverick loves to take pictures with my phone.
So does Damon.
And it's funny because when I take a picture of him, like, he'll say cheese for the first, like, 2 seconds. And then it's like, cheese. Like, looking everywhere but the camera, which is fine, whatever. But sometimes he'll say cheese and he's like, but I want to see. And I said, well, I can't show you and take a picture of you without flipping it like this. And then I'll flip it to like the, what is it called? Front camera. Mm-hmm. And then he's like, no, I want to see it out there. And I'm like, but you're here.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that.
It doesn't work like that. I can snap the picture and then you can look at the picture. He's like, no. I'm just like, it's not going to work how you want it to work, buddy.
Yeah. When we did our recent ones, Damon had a phone and he was just like taking pictures because he was like, I'm done taking pictures, like as in like being in front of the camera. Yeah. And so he had a phone and he was taking pictures during, and he would just like walk up and we'd be like, okay, we're gonna pose and do this, and he'd be like, say cheese, and he'd be like, you want to see? After he snapped a picture, and he would have snapped like 50, and he'd be like, oh yeah, 50 of the exact same photo that I get to then delete later, or
Yeah, Maverick goes around the house and he'll get like this close to your face. Like inches. He's like, Mama, say cheese. And I'm like, this is going to be a terrible picture.
Okay, let me just back up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super funny.
It really is.
You know what I'm really bad about with family pictures? Is then printing them out and putting them in my house.
Yep. I don't think I have gotten family photos printed. For
me, ever.
I think the last photos we got printed was when Anna was just shy of a year old.
Yeah, the last pictures
She's 6.
we got printed was our wedding.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I have no excuse. Like, Shutterfly is like, I mean, they're not great quality, but they exist.
But they're good enough to put up on your walls.
Cheap.
Yeah.
And I am pretty positive I have like one of those frames that have like multiple spots to put photos.
Yeah.
I am almost 100% positive that the one on my wall has like 3 empty spaces. So like, what excuse do I have?
Yeah. What's really embarrassing is that when I was pregnant with Maverick and I was in my like nesting bug, we had no pictures on the walls. And I said, I need pictures on the walls. So then I bought like some frames to put in like a collage thing. Went and got pictures of Michael and I from our wedding and like the dogs and the cat. Put them up on the wall. Those are the same pictures on my wall. And I remember after I had Maverick, I was like, oh, we need to get pictures on the wall. And I was like, but I don't have any like really good ones. How could I just choose one? Because your first baby, you take like a million pictures
of them.
And then we did the 1-year-old pictures with you. And then I was like, oh, now I have like good pictures that I can print out and put up there. And I'm like, oh, but I'll get to that. Never got to that. Then I got pregnant with Quincy. And I was like, well, now I'll just wait until I have both of them here. And then I can just put those pictures on the wall. And I still have not done that.
I feel you.
And it's driving me bonkers. I think it's because I know that I want a lot of pictures around the house. But one, frames aren't that cheap.
No. Not unless you go to like the dollar store and just get those ones. But even then, they're not good quality.
Yeah, exactly. And with my kids, they like to chuck things off the walls if they can reach them. Like the ones in our living room, they can reach he can reach the bottom, and he's knocked those down, but they're not glass. It's like a plexiglass or something, so they don't shatter, which is really great. And then at the same time, like, I don't mind mismatched frames, but for like certain areas, I do.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So then I'm like, well, where do I find new frames that I like that would go with these frames? And I just need to like sit down and actually plan out where I want all of our pictures, just get the damn frames and print out the damn pictures.
Yes, I need to do that too.
Because now Maverick notices. Maverick says, where's me and Quincy? Where's me and Sissy?
Oh.
I'll say, I'm sorry. I look so selfish.
I know. Yeah. If you were to come into my house and look at the photos on my wall, you would think I only love my oldest.
I don't know what it is. Why is it so hard to just print the damn pictures?
I don't know.
Especially with Shutterfly. You don't even have to leave your house.
I know.
Like if you go to Walgreens or something, yeah, you have to print them and then you have to go pick them up. Mm-hmm. But with Shutterfly, you just...
literally delivers
I've ordered
to your house.
pictures from Shutterfly. When Maverick was little and I took all those millions of pictures, I literally have like 6 or 7 boxes of like stacks of pictures of him. They're just like the 4x6, whatever the basic one is.
I think a lot of it is because we have now moved so far into like the digital era that it seems a little bit redundant almost to print them, even though they obviously serve a purpose by having them like up on the wall.
Displayed. Yeah.
But like a lot of people aren't printing photos to like go and then put them in like a photo memory bin or a what are those?
Like a scrapbook.
Scrapbook, yeah. I can't think of the word off the top of my head. But like people don't do that as often anymore because everything can just be kept in Dropbox.
Yeah. And I think I have a hard time because I've been wanting to do scrapbooks for the kids because my mom did it for me and my brothers. And I just feel like because it is so digital, I have so many pictures. How could you just choose a few?
Yeah. Whereas with the cameras that like our parents used, we didn't take 1,000 photos in a single day.
Yeah. You could take like up to 15.
Yeah.
And then you had to clear the memory card or you had to get a new disposable camera or whatever. And so it was easy to just sort through those pictures. I mean, they probably were like, wow, I have so many pictures. And we're like, wait till our day.
Yeah. Wait until your children, those children in those photos are older. And then you'll see that that's really not very many at all.
It's crazy. And that's why I printed out all those because I was like, well, I'm going to do a scrapbook for him. So I'll print out all these pictures. And I think I only got through him being 8 months old.
Oh.
And I have like 7 boxes. And that's not even all the pictures I had of him.
Yeah.
Because how could you possibly, you know?
Yeah, I don't know.
And I'm like, well, if I were to do a scrapbook with all of the pictures that I have ever taken, that would be the world's fattest scrapbook.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, that's not possible.
That's kind of why I like the, and I mean, here I am again with the whole digital thing. The digital, I'm quoting, digital scrapbooks where like you make a video out of it.
Yeah.
Which is what I did for your birth announcement. And then I think for his 1 year.
I know I need to get them done for Quincy too.
Yeah, just send me stuff and I'll get it.
I know. I just keep, it gets put on the back burner and I feel so bad. It really does.
I get it. I 100%
I was actually thinking about that this morning about how I need to do one for Quincy. Or 2. Technically.
I can backtrack it. It's easy.
I mean, thank God that it's just like I have all those things. So you can backtrack it. It doesn't matter like the time, but I just feel bad. Because I'm I was on the ball for Maverick for shit like that. And then
you always are for your first kid.
I've yet to buy Quincy a baby book. I never filled out Mavericks. I think I filled out like the first page of like what time they were born, how big they were and stuff. And then I just never did.
Sounds about right.
I have a log in my phone notes app.
Yeah, that's kind of what I have too.
Yeah.
And the more kids you have, I swear it's not that you care less. Because it's not.
Right.
It's, I don't know how to explain
I think it's for 1, you have less time. And for 2, you realize that it's not as important as you once thought it was to like make sure you catalog every little detail.
Yeah, I get that.
And it's impossible because if you were to catalog every single detail of every single kid, you would just be stuck in a book all day long. Especially like the more kids you have, like you'd be writing in their baby book literally every single day.
Every single day, multiple times a day.
Yeah. If you wanted to capture everything.
And I mean,
and I'm sure some people do that, but
yeah. And photos have date and timestamps now. I mean, I think technically they did on the back.
True.
the printed ones anyways did.
True, yeah.
And so if you wanted to know when something was, you could just like scroll back in your phone and like, oh, there was Damon's first food, and I can say exactly what day and time that picture was taken. So there it is right there.
Yep. But then I always worry, like, what happens if, like, digital stuff goes away?
I know.
I mean, I don't think it is, but people always talk about, like, blackouts and shit like that. And I'm just like, I would lose everything. So
but I guess the same thing happens too, though, with like if you have a house fire,
That's
God
true.
forbid.
I know.
All of that's gone.
Mm-hmm.
When my mom, because she had a house fire,
Mm-hmm.
The family photos in the bin under the bed were fine.
That's great. Because that would be so sad to lose all that.
Oh, yeah. Because, like, I've gone through that. And, like, we, on multiple occasions, have just, like, sat there in there and just looking at different things. Like, because each photo tells a story.
Yep.
And a lot of different things are, like, different faces of people that, like, you know, I don't know who this person is, or I never realized that so-and-so looked like that. And
yeah,
I feel like it's not going to be the same as, like, sitting there with your kid and just scrolling through photos on your
not.
phone.
It's not. Because I do that with Maverick all the time. Because he likes to look at pictures. And so he'll say, like, I want to see Maverick as a baby. And so we'll scroll back and look through those pictures as Maverick like a baby. But it's still meaningful. But I think we are also, like, the last generation that really didn't have, like, a super digital childhood. And so a lot of the pictures from our childhood are, like, precious because there wasn't like what we have today where you can just snap a million pictures. And like it's even more precious for like our parents and for their parents and then so on and so forth. Like, I don't know, having those pictures, having those memories captured versus nowadays it's literally like you said, you can scroll back. I could be like, what was I doing June 9th 2012 and I can scroll back and see what I was doing on that day, you know.
Exactly.
If I took pictures that day.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so much more precious to be able to look back on old photos and stuff.
It really is. And it's interesting because you never really think about it that way. Because like when my grandma died, we realized how few photos we actually had of her.
Right.
Digital or otherwise. And 90% of them, she was holding me.
Yeah.
You know, or they were like really, really old family photos at like Christmas time with you know, her kids, which would be like your dad and my uncle. Yep. And then with like my mom, we have a ton of pictures with her. I would say that probably she's got 3 times as many photos of herself since my children have been born than her entire life prior to that.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy to think about.
It is.
And then kind of same with me, you know, a lot. Like I took a ton of photos growing up because as soon as I got a phone, I was like, yep, selfie, boom, 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 boom.
Right, yeah.
And then now my kids have probably thousands upon thousands of photos each, just dedicated to their lives. And not only that, a lot of those photos are live photos.
Right.
So you can hold it and then you can see the actual moment.
Yeah.
In real time type whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like having things so easily capturable, for lack of a better phrase, has been a slight hindrance to us because, at least in my head, it almost makes me panic that I'm going to miss something and that I have to take a picture and capture it so I can go back and look at it instead of just like being in the moment sometimes.
I get that.
Whereas like before it was super popular, like, yeah, you took a couple pictures, but then you moved on and you were like in the moment. And now it's like, I have to capture everything. I can't miss anything because then what if I forget about it and I need to go back and be able to look at it? And it's just like, it's overwhelming sometimes.
I've been trying to be more immersed in the moment and less about the photos, preferably taking at least a couple so that I can commemorate the moment, but not sitting there with my phone out taking hundreds of photos in any singular event. I've been trying really hard to focus more on just the being there because I don't want my kids to think that every single moment is going to be with a camera in their face.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which, I mean, that goes into the whole, like, you know, vlogger child thing that we're not going to get into that in this episode because that's a whole different can of worms.
I mean, we could talk about that in a different episode.
Maybe someday. We'll maybe next season.
Yeah.
Because we have all the videos already scheduled, or not scheduled, but like planned out for this season. So maybe next season we'll dive into that.
Yeah.
Because that's a whole other thing.
Topic. But I agree. I don't want every time, every moment to be like, oh, mom's taking pictures again. Mm-hmm. Like, if it's a special enough moment, then sure. Mm-hmm. You know, like when we went to the beach the other day, I think I took a total of like 5 pictures. And I think 3 of those, like nobody was even paying attention. I just like snapped 2 really quick and then got on with the moment. And I used to feel so much pressure, especially when Maverick was really little, to like, I need to capture every second of this because, you know, we don't get to come here that often. And like when we go to like the zoos or the aquariums or whatever, I always felt like I need to capture every time they see a new animal. I need to capture every time that they, you know, see a new thing. And it's like, and then I realized when we move on to another area, I'm like, oh, wait, what did they do? Like, I don't even remember what we did.
You were too focused on taking the picture than you were in the actual moment.
Exactly. Or sometimes I'll catch myself like wanting not like a perfect, like styled picture, but you know, come over here, come say cheese. And it's like, then I'm disrupting their moment that they're having. And so I've really been trying to work on not doing that. Like if I'm going to get a picture, then it's going to be whatever is actually happening.
Yeah.
Versus trying to force something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then kind of like I don't know how to say this without kind of getting into like the vlogger child. Whatever. I'll just very quickly.
Okay.
Say what I'm trying to say. When something happens and you didn't take the photo, there's almost that inclination of wanting them to reenact it.
Right. Yep.
To get the photo. But then it's like not candid. It's not real. That moment it's gone.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, it was cute in the moment to see that, but like, they're children. They're not going to be able to perfectly reenact how it exactly just happened.
Right.
And even so, you're going to know when you look back on it that this was a forced moment.
Yeah. And yeah, definitely. I've seen that. I've caught myself even trying to do that.
I have too.
Where they did something funny or they said something funny and then I'll be like, I'll pull my phone out and be like, wait, say that again. Mm-hmm. And then they like say something different. I'm like, no, what you just said before. And
they have no idea.
They have no idea. And then I'll be like, okay, that was so stupid. And then I'll delete it and be like, I'm sorry. Like, I won't really say I'm sorry out loud. Just in my head, I'm like, that was stupid, you know? Mm-hmm. But like I said, I think it's because we're so obsessed with we can't miss a moment because then we're going to forget that moment. But I think it's making our memory worse.
I think so too.
Because now we're relying on
that photo or that video or whatever.
Exactly.
To remember the moment.
Yeah. Instead of just being in it. And I feel like when you're more invested in the moment, you're going to remember it more. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I mean, like whenever our parents get together and they start talking about memories and stuff, they're not whipping out photos.
No.
Whereas if we start talking about something, I notice it's not, I'll be like, oh, I've got a picture of that. Let me find it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's a completely different experience.
Yeah, it is. And I don't think we're going to get back to how it used to be.
I don't think so.
Not
I think we've gone
entirely
too far.
because I think we're just so digital now.
Yeah. I think so too. And it's kind of sad. Yeah. Honestly, it is. Yeah. And it makes me wonder what it's going to be like for our children. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah.
Like, what is the technology and the relationship to said technology going to be like as they get older? I do hope that they always, at least, even if it's just once a year or every other year, they sit down and they capture, like, the family. Mm-hmm. Because I think that that's one precious type of photo or photo opportunity or whatever you want to call it that is important. Mm-hmm. But I don't necessarily think that each individual teeny tiny moment in life is so important that it needs to be documented to the point where you are no longer present.
Yeah, you're no longer living.
You are now an observer of the moment versus being a participant.
Right. Where, like, I feel like nowadays it's every walk you go on, every trip to the store you go on, every, you know, night routine, every whatever is documented. Mm-hmm. Whereas before, the moments that were documented were like, you know, family get-togethers, family photos, Christmas, big events. sporting events, like big things. And I think it's almost cool to look back on how you would see like one picture of the whole family and then you wouldn't see it for a little while. And you can like see just how much they've aged. And now it's like you take so many pictures that you almost can't see it unless you go all the way back till now.
I found that like on Christmas, because I want to capture the moment, but because I don't want to be the one behind the camera, just click, 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 click. I now set up a video.
Yeah.
And then I just have it set and then we just do our thing. And then we're at least catching like the reactions and stuff. But even then, sometimes I'll be like, hey, you need to get in frame.
Right.
Or hey, turn this way so the camera can see you. And then it's like, then I'm not able to see you.
Right. Yep.
I catch myself doing that.
Yep. Yeah, Michael did video. He set up a video for this Christmas, and I actually just watched it like last week. And I'm like out of the frame the whole entire time, except for like a small little moment. And it's just because like he had set it up, and then when he moved his hand, it kind of like moved a little bit. And so I got just out of frame. And I remember being like, oh, I'm so disappointed. Like I'm not really in it. But it's like I was there and I can see the kids, and that's, you know, that was the important thing to be captured, I guess.
Exactly.
And, but yeah, I don't like the force. It almost turns you into, I know we're not talking about the vloggers this episode, but it almost turns you into a vlogger in a sense, because you're trying to capture like a specific thing. You're trying to have it not stylized, but like, and not really forced, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
But kind of. Yeah.
It doesn't help that we do see that all the time with vlogger families that have these like perfect photos and you try to recreate it. But then like that's not reality.
Right.
And then so even with like family photos, especially the people that have like a bajillion children and they end up getting that perfect photo, like that was probably photoshopped.
Right.
So don't give yourself a hard time.
And a lot of times the like more popular family bloggers or whatever, or even just famous people, they have a lot of money. They have people to stylize their kids and themselves, and they have like multiple professional people there to take the pictures, to have the perfect lighting, they could have like all the grandmas there that are look over here kind of a thing. Like it's not realistic.
Yeah, it's not.
At least not what I found.
And then you get this like
knock it off.
You'll get this like idea in your head of what you want it to look like, and then if it doesn't happen, then you almost get disappointed, and it's like, but at the end of the day, looking back on the photos, no matter if they were like so and so was moving a certain way or so and so didn't smile, it's still a moment that happened,
right?
You know, and it's still commemorating. And like even if, you know, Ellie is crying and Damon's you know, and Anna's rolling her eyes, like it's still a moment in time, and it captures the reality of what your kids were like so much better than if everybody's just like, geez.
Right. And I think probably right after you do the photos and you see those sillier ones, you probably think to yourself, oh, I didn't capture it. But I think when you're older, looking back on it, you realize, okay, that was a moment. That was so cute. That was exactly how they were as kids. And yeah.
I think it's hard because in the moment, sometimes when you do have one kid that's always crying, one kid that's always crazy and never doing what they're told, in the moment, that is so frustrating.
Yeah.
But then after the fact, it's like, I don't know, bittersweet.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, that was a really hard time when so-and-so didn't listen.
Yep.
But like, now that moment's gone, and now I don't get these funny, silly faces. They don't do that anymore or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's cute, you know. And candid photos are always the best.
They are always the best. And I heard that, or I read somewhere, that you should never like tell a kid, like, don't smile like that, or that's not a real smile, or something like, because it really hurts their confidence. And I remember as a kid, like being told like I should smile a certain way. And I always hated being told that, because I always said like, I am smiling. And they're like, no, smile bigger. And it's like, but am. Like, this is just me smiling. Like, why do you want me to smile a certain way? And I think that's kind of the same thing. Like, we want this picture perfect opportunity, photo op, whatever. And it's just not that.
Yeah. To very slightly counter what you're saying, I don't want to obviously negate what you're saying because you make a very good point. However, there was once upon a time where for some reason I thought was a cute smile. I'm not even kidding. 100%. If you look back at my mom's wedding photos, there are so many of me just being like, let me see if I can hold it for long enough to zoom in on my face. I want to
see this picture.
I will find it. And I'm just like. And I remember the photographer being like, can you actually smile? And I'm like, brow raised and everything. Just the. My mom, I remember looking back on those photos, we were like going through family photos or whatever, she was like, you did not want to be there. And I remember being like, no, I was smiling. Like that. I mean, like, I felt like I was. Like, I felt like that was a cute.
But even then, like, you get to look back and see the awkwardness, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it just kills me.
And I'm like, oh God. I ruined those photos. Because I did. I will, if I can find some, I'll put some on the video.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
I might have to blur out some other people's faces. But I mean, I had a broken arm, and so people just like attribute it to like I didn't want to be there. But I was in a good mood. I just genuinely thought that smile looked good. You thought
that you were giving.
Yeah. I think it's like you'll like pose in a mirror. Yes. Or whatever, and you'll be like, okay, I remember what this feels like. I'm gonna do this, and you're like,
right.
But then in the moment, you're like,
right. Exactly.
Because you think it feels the same, and it doesn't.
Yep.
And you're like, this is exactly
how I looked in the mirror. This is how I remember my face feeling, and you're like, yeah.
I remember it be an interesting screen grab for our thumbnail. It's all these ugly ass.
I remember there for a while, I didn't want to smile with my teeth. It was like when I was going through the awkward phase of like getting my adult teeth, and everything was just like.
And then there's the what was it from like 2010 to 2014? Everybody and their mother.
Oh yeah, the like. Smelling something stank. But you're trying to be happy about it.
Oh yes, I'm so glad that I was not able to pull off. I could never figure out how to do it until I was like an adult. Ugh. Like how they were doing it. But I remember because my mom was, a photographer, and I remember distinctly there was I think it was when my sibling was doing soccer, and my mom got hired by the company that like hosted their soccer team or whatever to like come and do like the player individual photos or whatever. Yeah. And there was one girl that was doing the thing, and my mom was like, all right, smile. And she goes, I am. And I remember my mom looking over at me, and I was like, she is. And she's just like,
that's the smile, Mom.
She's like, okay,
all right.
And like 2 or 3 other girls ended up doing it, and every time she was just like, okay.
I think smiles went downhill when selfies became a thing.
Yes, because
it was a different smile in a selfie than it was in like a family photo.
You would always turn some super weird way.
Almost to where your eyeball, like you couldn't even see your eyeball. It was just like so
way over here. Because everybody was like, my nose, like snatched right here. And you're just like.
Or it was from way above and you're like looking through your lash.
Oh God. I just remembered. It's the slightly tilted down. Slightly tilted down. Your head's like cocked to the side and you're. You can see it better on the viewfinder. Okay, let's see. Remember it?
Yes.
If you're listening and not watching, you're missing it.
You're missing out.
You're missing all of it.
Oh my gosh, because you're trying to get the outfit as well.
Oh yeah, way up here. Where you're just
so high up. Oh,
you're just like got your phone and you're just. I don't even have it open.
Higher.
I know, yeah, way up here. Oh, yeah, it is way up here.
Oh, yeah.
It is. It was.
Oh, my gosh. It really was. I think I have, honestly, a prom picture like that. I think it might still be on my phone.
You maybe have shown me before.
Probably.
Or at least something similar. Oh. But I'm so glad that we could never pull off that smile.
Oh.
Because, man, I already know that my thing, whatever, with some of the photos that we took was bad. I cannot remember, or I cannot imagine what it would be like if I had adopted all of these ugly smiles.
We all thought we were models.
All of us thought we were models.
We were far from.
Oh, yeah. And then the super overexposed.
Oh.
Where, like, all you could see was your black
eyes and, like, your nostrils.
I remember I had a picture like that once, and I had black hair at the time too, so it was just like super extra.
Yeah.
And someone was like, "Oh my god, I wish I could pull that off." And I'm like, "You can't even see my lips.
You can't even see that I'm a person."
I literally look like a ghost here.
Yeah, literally.
But it was like the thing.
It was the thing. Times have changed, thank God.
Yep, and I'm really glad that my mom's sense of what is actually looking good on a family photo was different than what I believed at the time. Right. Because we would all be super overexposed making faces at the camera.
Oh, God.
Sally June over here.
I feel like we have gotten back to, in photos, we've gotten back to, like, timeless photos.
Yes, we have.
Because there for a while, it was wild. I don't know what the hell we were all doing.
I think we needed the chaos, though, to appreciate that, like, timeless, candid, real thing than the super, what is the word that I'm thinking of? Meticulous, like, every tiny little detail is, like, very planned out. Mm-hmm.
Like curated.
That's the word that I was trying to think of. Curated. Yes, super curated. Mm-hmm. I mean, especially, like, what if every single person all did their own, what they believed looked good?
Right.
How chaotic that photo would look. Because there's, like, plenty of family photos, I'm sure, out there where the teenagers just...
They're doing something of their own.
They're smelling a skunk, or they're...
Yeah. It's just funny because if you look at, like, super old pictures, they're either, like, everybody's standing just straight and smiling or not smiling. And then they have a few scattered, like, candid photos of the kids, like, running across the lawn. And then it got a little bit more stylized with, like, the JCPenney awkward photos. And then we kind of took it in a weird direction. We did. Of, like, selfies and awkward smiles and, like, full body poses, weird angles. And now we're getting back to, like, normal.
The funny thing is our generation taking, like, the weird stylized photos translated to the parents doing the down here. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Like, nostrils.
And then it was their Facebook photo.
Yes. For like 6 years straight.
Yeah. I never understood that.
They thought they looked good, but we also thought we looked good.
Like, we thought, like, we tried to show them, like, a good angle.
But then they'll do that too.
And then they come down here. Yeah. But now I feel like those people that used to take them down here have now moved up here. Yeah. And they don't realize that you need to come in the middle.
And they're doing some weird shit. Where they're just like...
It's always the dads who are just... Great. Just, like, stone face. And they're like, yep, that's a good one.
I actually took... I'll put this up here.
Yes.
You can see what I'm talking about.
That's gold.
Because it's so true.
It's the dad pic. It's the dad profile pic.
It is. It really is.
Oh, God.
Anyways, our camera's about to die.
Yeah, and the kids are screaming. And yeah.
This was a fun episode.
It was a fun episode.
Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And we will see you guys next week.
See you next week.
Bye.